You ready?
Go for it.
What if you had a child? Think about if you had a child, son, a daughter, you'd want the best for that child. You'd want to give it just give it the world. Love, food, shelter. You'd want to give it everything. But then also imagine, what if that child was taken away from you? Taken away to be trained as a soldier, to kill innocent people, or even kidnapped, to be sold into the sex trade. This kind of stuff is unimaginable for us. But even more unimaginable is what if you were that child? Think about that, about being that child and being taken away, or being trained to do that. It is unimaginable, but yet it is a reality for those in Uganda, Congo, and Sudan. I had to put myself in the shoes and trying to imagine this by participating in the Invisible Children's The Rescue, which is an event where thousands of people across the world kidnap themselves and march for 5 miles to a public area, spent the night there, and wrote letters to congressmen, representatives, and media outlets on trying to draw attention to this crisis. And so I ask you to imagine yourself as that child so that we can put ourselves in those shoes, because that's the only way we can understand people's situations. And the situation right now is that the Lord's Resistance Army, which is run by a man named Joseph Kony, is operating in the Congo, and they're kidnapping children and innocent people and killing innocent civilians and waging a war against neighboring countries. And so this is an injustice that we must end with. So today I want to show you what is currently being done to help this situation, but how it's not exactly enough. And then I also want to discuss a plan to solve this crisis. And lastly, I want us to imagine the outcome of this plan if it is put into action. First, let us look at what the current situation is regarding the efforts to stop this crisis and why more needs to be done. Several years ago, groups such as Invisible Children, Resolve Uganda, and the Enough Project pulled together and did different events such as the march, as I suggested. And then they also went and talked to congressmen and representatives and talked about this stuff and formed a bill. This bill is called the Lord's Resistance Army, Disarmament and Northern Uganda Recovery Act. And according to opencongress.org, President Obama signed it into law May 24th, 2010. Now, according to a Congressional Research Service, the bill directs the President to submit to the appropriate congressional committees a regional strategy to guide U.S. support for multilateral efforts to eliminate the threat to civilians and regional stability posed by the Lord's Resistance Army, and to enforce the rule of law and to ensure full humanitarian access in LRA-affected areas. And so this is about a strategy to create to help these people that are at risk. And that strategy has been created now. However, there's something still in the way. Currently, Congress is contemplating cutting the funding for this plan as they contemplate the 2012 U.S. budget. Now, on Resolve's website, they talk about how approximately $50 million is needed for this funding in our nation's budget. It's actually less than 0.002% of our national budget. Or, to explain it in a different way, it is less than 0.2% of our entire foreign aid budget, which itself is approximately only 1% of our overall budget. So in all actuality, there's really not that much money that's needed to fund this plan, so it would be unnecessary to cut it out. Now, why is this important? Why should you care? Well, the fact is that this will offer you a chance to help other people. And this will give you the chance to look at yourself and look at our lives and say that we did something good for others and we answered the call for others. And we also know that our money went to a good cause and that we'll be happy with ourselves. Now that we have seen there's a major problem with how things are currently going, let's see what there is that can be done. Invisible Children, Resolve, the Enough Project, are all pushing towards informing representatives of the risk. And this campaign is called Start Something to Finish It. And it has three main components: a petition, calling, and lobby meeting. The petition, what their goal is to have 10,000 signatures by the 25th of April. The calling is to call your representatives and inform them and urge them not to take it out of the budget. And a lobby meeting is to inform and update politicians on what is currently happening. So now that we've seen what can be done, but let us ask ourselves, what would the results look like if we succeeded? Enough Project's website said that the bill also calls for assistance to address the humanitarian needs of victims and rebuild and rehabilitate communities targeted by the LRA. So this talks about how there's so much more than just taking Joseph Kony out of power. There's a humanitarian efforts that need to be made. But what would that look like? On Resolve Uganda's website, it gives us a few things to go off of, and that is rehabilitation programs for children who escaped LRA captivity, construction of roads and airstrips that help humanitarian relief, and also radio and mobile phone towers to help remote communities being targeted by the LRA to communicate with each other and warn each other. This will help make Uganda and the Congo a safer place to be for these civilians. We have seen the problem and why it should be changed. We looked at how it could be changed. And finally, we looked at what the world would be like if this law was kept in the 2012 budget. Now I want to extend an encouragement to you. People are living in fear. Children are being abducted, and like thousands of children are being forced to fight war, to mutilate people, even their own family members. Their voices need to be heard. And we as people can speak out. You can speak out. So please, sign the petition. Call your representative. Host a meeting. Please visit the resolve.org and look for the site Start Something to Finish It, and it has a lot more information about this. You can help save thousands. You are that relief they need. So in conclusion, the bill is close to losing its funding, and the solution is petitions and callings and meetings. And the result will be beneficial to the victims of LRA. So do something. You will be happy with yourself knowing you have saved lives. Thank you.